Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the September 16th, 2025 meeting of the Santa Barbara City Council. May we stand for join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, may I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Harmon?
Yes.
Councilmember Santa Maria?
Here.
Councilmember Snedden?
Here.
Councilmember Gutierrez?
Present.
Councilmember Jordan?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Friedman?
Here.
With Mayor Rouse absent.
All right, great. And so we are going to our ceremonial item, National Disaster Preparedness Month. And may I have our responders come on up, and I will present the proclamation. All right, hello everyone. Here's a proclamation presenting National Preparedness Month for September 2025. Whereas National Preparedness Month creates an important opportunity to remind every resident of the city of Santa Barbara to prepare their homes, businesses, and community for any type of emergency, including natural disasters. And whereas the theme for the 2025 National Preparedness Month is Preparedness Starts With You. And whereas emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every resident of the city of Santa Barbara, and all residents are urged to make preparedness a priority and work together as a community to ensure that emergency and disaster preparedness education is equitable and accessible for all. And whereas this month, the City Office of Emergency Services urges all residents to prepare for disasters by making a plan, creating or updating their emergency kits, registering for ready SBC alerts, and participating in community preparedness activities. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me, I do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Preparedness Month and encourage all residents to develop their own emergency preparedness plans and work together to protect each other while creating a more prepared and resilient community. And have some comments from our great staff.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. The Office of Emergency Services, we are a small but mighty division in the fire department, and we really thank Council for recognizing National Preparedness Month. This year's theme, as we said, is Preparedness Starts With You. And we encourage all of our community members to start preparing by following these important steps. Know your risks. We have many hazards that impact Santa Barbara and our surrounding area. Just this year, we've seen flooding, tsunami advisory, heat, and public safety power shutoffs, to name a few. Make a plan. You want to have that plan before the disaster happens, and you want to make sure that you practiced it with your family or community. Build a kit or update your kit. Be prepared to be on your own for at least a few days. I think we generally say 5 to 7 at this point in time, and this means having your own food, water, and other supplies needed to maintain within your house or within any location. And then register for alerts at readysbc.org. That is our countywide alerting system used by city and county, and we really encourage all residents to make sure they're registered or go in and update their registration. Office of Emergency Services also encourages you to sign up for any of our great trainings that we have free of charge, such as community disaster education workshops, community emergency response training, and listos, to name a few. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Any council members wish to make any comments? Member Snedden.
I do. Thank you. Very briefly, I noticed our translation wasn't happening concurrently, and I was wondering if we could have that important message translated.
Of course.
Queremos agradecerles por esta proclamación que nos han hecho por el Mes Nacional de Preparación, y en la Oficina de Servicios de Emergencia para la ciudad de Santa Bárbara se enfoca este año en que la preparación comienza con uno. Entonces es tiempo de nosotros hacer un plan, de tener un kit de suministros de emergencia, de registrarnos para recibir alertas de emergencia, así como también prepararnos con capacitaciones, entrenamientos gratuitos que ofrece la Oficina de Servicios de Emergencias durante todo el año. Tenemos muchos riesgos y hay que conocer esos riesgos que existen en el área donde vivimos para que así podamos estar mejor preparados y planear de acuerdo a las necesidades de nuestra familia. Y con mucho gusto la Oficina de Servicios de Emergencias está aquí para asistirlos con sus planes, con capacitaciones o con cualquier recurso que necesiten. Gracias.
Thank you. Great. So now moving on, Madam Administrator, are there any changes to the agenda?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Friedman. On the, I believe it is item 7. Nope, sorry. Item 3, okay, apologies. Item 3, which is the fiscal year fourth quarter review. There was a clerical error on the budget adjustment attachment. So attachment 3 to the staff report is correct, but exhibit 1 in resolution 1 is incorrect. So when you need to refer to attachment 3 when considering the budget adjustments. So I just wanted to highlight that.
So we will pull item 3 as well, as part of it. Are there, on the consent calendar, are there any members that wish to pull any items? Member Sneddon?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Friedman. Is item 6 already pulled? I had a couple questions in addition to item 3.
It isn't, but we can
Okay.
pull that. We do have some public comment that will be speaking to that, so we'll pull item 3 and item 6.
Thank you.
Are there any other items that any other members of the council wish to speak to? Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to an item on
Excuse
on
me,
consent?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The clerk needs to read the items into the agenda, into the
Right,
record first.
Just want to make sure if there was any items, and then we'll read them in. So if we could have the clerk read in the items that need to be read in, and then we'll ask public if there's any additional items to pull. Still learning up here.
Item 2, adoption of ordinance for the contract amendment for environmental services for the Las Positas and Modoc Roads multi-use path project. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only an ordinance of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending and ratifying agreement number 26,724 by and between the City of Santa Barbara and Rincon Consultants, Inc. for environmental mitigation and restoration specialist services and related support for the Las Positas and Modoc Roads multi-use path project. Also, item 3, fiscal year 2025 fourth quarter review. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending resolution number 25-052 to approve proposed fourth quarter Q4 adjustments to FY 2025 revenue and expenditure appropriations as detailed in the attached schedule of proposed Q4 adjustments, and adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending position salary control resolution number 25-053 for authorized positions for fiscal year 2025. The Human Resources Department requests council approval for the following adjustments, including the following position changes. Changes are effective September 20th, 2025.
All right, and I do have some questions regarding item 3, so we'll pull that. Before we vote on the non-pulled items, are there any other items from my colleagues that you'd like to discuss? Are there, and aside from item 6, there are members of the public that want to speak to item 6, so we will hold
Mayor-
that one. Are there
Mayor
any
Pro
other
Tem,
items?
I just
either-
wanted to highlight, we have a couple employment agreements on the consent agenda, so I know at least 2 of the 3 employees are here, and maybe just to introduce them publicly would be great at some point.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and you're one step ahead of me. I was going to have you just, so we can take those as part of the regular consent, if you'd like to introduce. And items number 4 and 5 are new, not new employees, but the new positions of those employees.
Fantastic. First, I would like to congratulate, where is he? Oh, there he is, Brandon Bodette, who has been promoted to the permanent library director position after serving as interim for about a year and a half. He's been with the city for over 25 years now. Oh my gosh. But really grateful for his leadership of the library and for his willingness to take on this new role. And then next, I have our new Public Works Director, Brian Demore, but we are creating another kind of reorganization. So Public Works and our Water Resources function will be split now into two departments. Unfortunately, Joshua Hagmark, who will be the other new director, is on vacation with his family this week, but we wanted to go ahead and do all the employment agreements together. So really grateful. Again, Brian, I think, has been here about 20 years with the city in Public Works, and Joshua has been here almost a similar amount of time, and so grateful for their leadership. Both of them served as interim Public Works Director since February, and grateful to have their continued leadership in these new roles. So thank you, Council.
Thank you, and I will leave it open if either one of you would like to come up and say a few words. No pressure. It's up to you.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. I just want to convey my appreciation to Kelly McAdoo, our City Administrator, and the members of this council for all your support. I've been with the city over 25 years, worked for a lot of great teams that have done a great job serving this community, but I might be a little biased now, but the members of this staff of the library are wonderful. I couldn't be happier to lead this group into the next chapter. Being there for the last year and a half has really shown me just how much the library serves this community in a direct and meaningful way, and I'm just really super appreciative. Thank you.
All right. Easy to follow that up. I can just say ditto, insert Public Works for library, and then I'm done, because you all know I'm relatively short in my speech. I like to, as I thought about this as an acceptance speech, I was like, no, I don't really do speeches. I prefer to just kind of work hard and let my attitude speak for itself. And I think in Public Works, that's very true as a department. We work hard, we have a positive attitude, and generally the community really appreciates what we do, and I just hope to continue to lead the department and the whole entire organization forward. It's been a surprise to me when I came here. I thought I would be here for 3 to 5 years. That was our game plan, and we were going to go back to the Northeast, but like a lot of people, if you can make it work in Santa Barbara, you stick around. So we're still here, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you.
On behalf of the city, thank you both for stepping up to this new challenge and to lead our great city in the years to come. And it's been an honor to work with both of you in different capacities over my time on council, and just really appreciate all that you're doing. And the departments are in good hands, and the city is in good hands with you and all your staff. So thank you for that. Any other items to be pulled? I saw a council member. Nope. Okay. And so with that, we've already read these in, so do I have a motion to approve the consent without items 3 or 6?
I'll move
3 and 6.
2, 4, and 5.
Second.
Motion's been made by Member Jordan and seconded by Member Harmon. The vote, please. Motion passes with Mayor Rouse absent. And so now we are going back to general public comments. And we do have,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, usually we do the report from the Finance Committee first.
sorry,
Thanks.
because that was on there, we were talking about it. So the Finance Committee, we did meet today on the fourth quarter financials and a recommendation on reclassifications for some job descriptions, and a 2-0-1 abstention, move to recommend that to come forward to the council today, and we will have more discussion with that item, which is item 3, which has been pulled for discussion. So that's a report from the finance. And now on to general public comment for items not on today's agenda, but under the purview of the city council. We'll start in chambers. I have 3 speakers. First up is Ree Bravo, followed by Brian David. Ree Bravo. Come on up to the mic, Mr. Bravo. And you will have 3 minutes.
Hi. My concern is about a place called the Wellness Center. There's too much going on that shouldn't be, okay? Doesn't have to be. The problem probably lies with the director and her assistant. I single them out because that's all that, maybe a couple others, but they're not maintaining order there. Their job is to do that, And as far as the mission of the place, it's not being realized. They're just not doing their jobs. I think that place could do a lot better. These people were probably appointed politically, which is really not a good idea. You need to get people that are capable. See, people with backgrounds. I think you know what I mean by that. That are capable of doing these jobs, not just some politically appointed person, which that is. To me, it's a serious matter because I am homeless, okay, and I need to go there. I have to go there. The place is for me, but I can't hang there because of these things, that they could do a lot better, these people. They're just not wanting to. I've already called a few people about town about it, okay, so I'm going to stay on it.
Thank you. Up next is Brian David, followed by Joseph Cortez Jr.
Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. Thank you for hearing me. It saddens me to be here. I've been tortured by the police department and the DAs for 20 years. In 2011, I was in a drug entrapment case for personal use. They decided to single me out and let the suppliers go. Then the DA's office planted heroin hallucinogens on the report. They slammed my head on the street when I was handcuffed. It caused me a concussion. I was denied medical services for 5 days. I was on a hold, no bail. I had a perfect record except for a falsified disturbing the peace charge that they helped falsify. In 2023, to my horror, when I was getting my charges expunged, I noticed a false arrest report with heroin, cocaine, hallucinogens, and evading that I was never arrested or detained in 2012. There was no badge number, no case number, and a made-up officer's name. The DAs and the officers went out of their way to destroy my life. By the way, the district attorney who planted the drugs and false report on me is now a judge in Superior Court. The county and the city administrators, the judge, and the employees are trying to keep it quiet. They're trying to destroy my life for not repeat offending. Now police and the rest are making it impossible to work and trying to ostracize me from the town and state. I haven't had a ticket in 14 years. Do I deserve this happening to me for filing complaints, sticking up for my constitutional, civil, and human rights? They're trying to ostracize me from the town for doing nothing. I did nothing. I've got a completely clean record. The United States District Court jury duty called me for jury duty, and they got this paperwork that I have. I have all proof of it right here. And I don't think it's fair to treat me like this. I'm a human being. You guys treat me worse than a circus animal. And I don't believe it's fair to do this to me. It's unconstitutional. It's against my civil, constitutional, and human rights. I should be treated like a human being, not a piece of trash. I've done nothing to ruin my record. And I don't think it's fair. I've got a 92-year-old mother, and I'm trying to take care of her. And what have I done to deserve treatment like this? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I didn't repeat offend, and that was it. I'm not here freaking out or doing anything wrong. I faced you. I think I got more balls in a Chinese ping pong tournament. And I've come up here and I've spoke my mind, and now I'm done. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next up, Joseph Cortez Jr.
Good afternoon, City Council. I got no concerns, no excuses. Let me say that the way the city's being ran, as far as we're taking care of the homeless society that's here in the city, doing a good job. As far as that part, the budget, everything, the police department and their separate departments, what they're working on, as far as what goes on in the streets, the troubles, emergencies, things like that. Me, I'm on the streets as well, but at the same time, I'm still taking care of my business, and at the same time, I'm taking care of others. I care about the city, I care about the community, the city, point blank, not making excuses. In a nutshell, all I'm saying is, look, City Council, I know Randy ain't here, he's probably out just probably chilling about. Anyways, look, make better decisions for the city. That's all I'm saying. Because the more better decisions you make, the more, you can learn from each other sitting at these tables in front of your laptops. That's all I'm saying. As far as like this, it's like, look, I work day and night. I work nonstop. I'm 24/7. I don't get no sleep. I don't do drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually getting myself off of alcohol. That's why I'm up here, is letting my improvements, my progress, and people see that. It's my second time speaking on this podium. I'm saying, keep doing what you're doing. I read The Independent every Thursday, the new one. I know what goes on in the city. I know what happens up and down these streets. I walk the streets. I live on the street. I know what goes on. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. Tell Randy that. Even though people think he might have misconception of him or whatever. He's a good man. All of you, make better decisions. Don't do an agreement. I mean, come on. That's it. Make better decisions for the city, and the city will work better.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any members online who wish to speak to general public comment?
There are not.
All right, I will close general public comment, and now we'll move on to item 3. And before we open up to questions or comments from council, I'd like to ask Mr. DiMartini to come up and just give us a high-level overview of the Q4 financials from last year. It's important for the public to kind of understand where preliminary we are with the year closing last year. It's not for the coming year, but for last year. And we went over it in more detail in finance, but there's some good information out there. Thank you, Mr. DiMartini.
Yes, no problem, Mayor Pro Tem Friedman. Good afternoon, members of the City Council. My name is Keith DiMartini, the Finance Director. Just to give a brief overview of the report. Today, the report shows the preliminary financial results for fiscal year 2025. Staff have not yet finished closing the books yet. That process takes a number of months, and we typically finish closing the books at around January, at which time we'll go to the Finance Committee early in 2026 with the review of the annual comprehensive financial statements, which have been fully audited, and we'll present to Finance Committee at that time, and that will also come to the full City Council on consent as well. The general fund adopted budget in fiscal year 2025 called for a $4.6 million deficit, not including the additional amount that is required to meet the City Council reserve policy target. Preliminary results show that the deficit will likely be around $6.8 million as of the end of June. We do project, though, that that deficit will likely improve when we finally close the books and realize some additional Measure I sales tax revenue that came in July but are attributable to June. And so we do project that the deficit will be a little bit better than $6.8 million. It's important to note that property tax revenues came in directly on budget, which is great. Sales tax, though, is coming in a little bit short, around $1 million compared to what we budgeted for. And this trend is somewhat concerning, and it's something that we'll be monitoring closely, especially as we lead into fiscal year 2026. TOT revenue did come in slightly over budget, which is great. And these recent trends show that the growth that we assumed early in fiscal year 2026 may not actually unfold, so we might see a little bit of dip in 2026. So again, we'll be monitoring that very closely as we go through. But overall, all tax revenues came in nearly on budget than what we projected. When we look at the expenditure side of the equation, it's important to note that all of the general fund departments came in under budget, which just shows our continued commitment to controlling our expenditures and reducing our costs wherever possible. And then staff is still scheduled to provide an update to the general fund multi-year forecast to the Finance Committee. It's scheduled for October 14th. And so at that time, we'll be presenting some updated information, some additional pressures, some additional costs that we're now projecting in fiscal year 2026 and going forward. And so that will come before the City Council at a later time.
Great, thank you, Mr. DiMartini, for the quick overview. So now I'll open it up to my colleagues. Member Sneddon.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Frieden. So, Mr. DiMartini, I have some sort of like overarching, high-level questions, I guess, without getting too into the details. But in attachment 2, on a couple different things I'm going to ask you about. So, on the summary of revenues for general fund, and quite a few of those are less than projected, and some that stand out are the intergovernmental 1.6 or so million, just sort of details of what that is and whether that will right itself or we expect it to or not. And then the, well, all of those actually. The others are smaller, and that one really stands out, but the use of money and property at 531,000. If you could just speak to some of those and the cannabis excise tax as well.
Yes, Councilmember Sneddon, thank you very much. So the intergovernmental revenues is sort of a larger category of fines and forfeitures and other revenues that come from other agencies that might come to the city. And those numbers are pretty solid. I mean, we're still, closing the books, so there's a preliminary number at this time, but we're not projecting any additional revenue at this time for that one. For cannabis, the cannabis revenue has been on a slight decline over the past 3 years. We only have a handful of retail establishments in the city, and that industry, doesn't show strong revenue growth for any of those retail establishments. And so we do expect that trend to continue.
Okay, thank you. I'll channel Mayor Rouse now and say, well, he told us so. But back to the intergovernmental, so we expect that 1.6 million to stay. That's not something that will continue to, that deficit won't go away with the closing of the books or other things, and sort of why aren't we collecting as many fees or things intergovernmentally?
Yeah, Councilmember Sneddon, again, that is our best estimate at this time. When we close the books, I'm happy to report if there's any changes to the $1.6 million at that time. For a lot of these fines and forfeitures, I think some of them are primarily in the police department. I could work with the police department staff to determine if there's a significant change on the volume of certain types of fees or penalties that they might assess. I'd be happy to work on that and bring some additional information, maybe when we come back with the financial statements.
That would be great, thank you. And then I guess a similar question on, it's page 12, and it's the summary of revenues and expenses on enterprise funds. And I think this might be a similar situation where they almost all look like they're in deficit, but enterprise funds balance their own budgets and are balanced. So for all of these, are we expecting they'll be balanced by the time the books close, and this is just a snapshot?
Councilmember Sneddon, again, thank you for that question. So these are, again, preliminary. I don't anticipate that there will be significant changes to these year-end results by the time we close the financial statements. If there are, we would be happy to identify which funds may have changes. So we would be happy to do that. And it is true that all of these enterprise funds have to have to fund their own operations through their own revenue that they collect. None of these enterprise funds receive any general fund tax dollars. And so if there is a deficit in a fund, then they have to dip into their own reserves to be able to balance their budget. It is also important to look at these funds, not just on an annual basis, but on sort of a multi-year basis. And one example that sort of is a big outlier here is the Clean Energy Fund. You see that they had over an $11 million deficit in fiscal year 2025. That's the preliminary result. Last fiscal year, they actually had a really large surplus. Just had to do with the fluctuation in the way that we record their revenue for the purchasing, for the supplier purchase agreements that we have. And so when you look at it over a multi-year period, they actually are still in good shape. And so, again, maybe what we can do is provide sort of that multi-year view, which we tend to do during the budget process for these enterprise funds as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I think it always does stand out. Some things show as sort of very large deficits, but they're actually accounted for, planned for, and will smooth out over time, and we're anticipating that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. One more question. Do you, and maybe this is a general question, but when is our class and comp study coming and might be in effect as just a large budgetary item that might need looking at?
So we have been, the directors and other managers and supervisors have been reviewing the draft job descriptions for the past couple of months and sort of cleaning those up. And we also took all of the salary data, which was from 2023, and we had our outside legal firm, Liebert Cassidy, age that data and also adjust it for cost of living versus cost of labor. So we've just received that data back in the last sort of month. Our new HR director joins next week, so we're going to basically sit down with him and figure out, okay, now that we have all of this information and it's up to date, when are we going to schedule an update for council in closed session as it relates to labor negotiations, and then when will we start rolling that data out for bargaining groups?
Great, thank you. And thank you for making those adjustments. I know we asked for those, and that's a big recalculation, so looking forward to that. And then I had another question, and I think I had the benefit of watching the Finance Committee meeting, so I won't ask many of the similar questions, but sort of overarching general question for item 3D. So we have, maybe you could help me with what process is, because I think that's where the conversation ended up going at Finance. So we have the three offices that I think that we sort of have purview over is the City Attorney's Office, City Administrator's Office, and then I'm considering the City Council Office as a third office. And I know at different times when we've had City Attorney's Office, we've had different positions reclassified, and when there was time need for extra research or extra positions, those were created or reassembled. And in the City Administrator's Office, this is what I'm understanding item 3D is a reclassification to get in alignment with job performance that's already, or not performance,
job duties.
Duties, thank you. So I guess my question is for process, and I'm looping this back in because I've asked this from the dais over 7 years. I've asked it internally. What is the process for me to ask for the City Council Office to have the same sort of consideration that for the position within the Council Office?
So the reclassifications are generally dictated by MOU. So, for example, I just pulled, based on the conversation we had at Finance, so if an employee believes that he or she is working out of class on a regular basis, the employee may request a reclassification from his or her manager in writing. Manager must respond within 10 days. The manager may recommend that the classification review be conducted by submitting a written request that would be approved by the department head. If the employee is not satisfied with the manager's response, he or she may submit a written reclass request to his or her department head or designee. And within 10 days of receiving the manager's response, and then the department head meets with the employee and issues a written response to the employee in the HR office. So all of these processes are outlined within the MOUs that govern. I just pulled this one in particular from the supervisors. Yeah, and then if the department head's response requests the classification review be conducted, HR conducts the classification review, issues its decision to the employee and the department head within 45 working days, and the decision to request or not request a classification review shall be at the department head's sole discretion. However, the decision will not be arbitrary or capricious. And so that's really, it's governed by MOU. And so, and I think there was a question, what happens if we sort of go outside of this process? The employee always has the ability to file a grievance because it is a provision of the MOU. So if they disagree or have any sort of concerns with how the process came about, there's always that option.
Great, thank you. And I want to be really clear, I'm not asking this about any specific employee or on behalf of any specific employee, but it's always been very fuzzy for me with the 3 different branches. Who is the department head of the city council office?
So that position reports to the city administrator's office because the council only has administrative authority over myself and the city attorney. So technically, she is, that position in that office, I would be the department head.
You'd be the department head?
Yes.
Okay, so you are who we would request.
Yes.
So I just want to, I'll say it here, I've said it many times publicly from the dais that I'm requesting that position be looked at within the
And then, so what we would have her, she would fill out a position description questionnaire, and then HR would review that. So.
Okay, thank you. That clears that up, because I think what came up in the questions at finance was sort of what is the process and how do these things happen? And I'll say for myself, not questioning HR's authority to classify positions appropriately and have them in alignment, which I think we all want. But that clears up that question, so I will formally make that request for the City Council office.
And I did want to just make a correction. We discovered an error on the salary and benefits calculation for the reclassification, and it's actually only $16,351 annually instead of I think it was $27,000 that was listed in the staff report. So and we're also just double checking on the other positions to make sure those costing numbers are correct as well. So I just wanted to highlight that for the council.
That makes a huge difference, actually, and thank you.
And that includes benefits. It's not just the salary increase. So in terms of all of those numbers that are in the staff report, it is salaries plus the cost of benefits.
Thank you. Again, and I want to emphasize this isn't about any individual and deservingness of the reclassification or anything like that. This is just procedural question that came up, and I'm just sort of thinking of the 3 different offices individually. Thank you.
So any other comments, questions on that one? Any members of the public wish to speak to that item? Oh, sorry. Member Santa Maria.
Thank you, Councilmember Friedman. I just want to briefly thank Councilmember Sneddon and our city administrators. That's really helpful to have that clarification and wanting to make sure that all of our employees are classified properly. And as Councilmember Sneddon said, this isn't about one person or another in particular. My goal personally is to make sure that our entire organization and all of our employees are clear and aware of what this process is, so that the opportunity is presented to everyone and everybody has a fair chance of doing this. And I think it's encouraging to hear that we are going to start seeing progress in our class and comp study implementation. That study's done, and I'm very encouraged to hear our HR director starting next week, and we should be seeing that soon. But I do think it's important that we, as an organization, seeing it from the 50,000-foot level, that we make sure that this is an equitable and fair process for everybody. So again, appreciate all the clarification, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any members online wish to speak to this item?
No, there are not.
I will close public comment. We're going to move on to item 6. And then when we come back for these 2, if Ms. Magadou, if we could have you read the amendments to that item that we need to put into the record so that we reflect that when we make the motion on item 3, the corrections that we needed to make to reflect that when we get there. So item 6. Are there any members of council that wish to speak to item 6 before I call it public comment? Member Sneddon.
Thank you. I just have another sort of overarching question, and not to get too into the legalities of any of it, but it's my recollection that at some point we had discussed having a daytime drop-in center, and I'm understanding that the documentation and the operation of the Faro Center is not for that. So my question is, do we have plans for that, or what will meet that need?
I think we can continue to look at that. I think Ms. Anderson can answer, that we do have the Father Virgil Center that is a daytime drop-in center, and are there other, I'll let her respond. I know that that is one that operates as a drop-in center.
Yeah, Councilmember Sneddon, we have quite a few service providers that are delivering services during the daytime to unhoused and those who are at risk of experiencing homelessness citywide. And so we've had to make shifts at this facility at 621 Chapala Street, but we do feel, one, that current needs are being addressed for those that are seeking refuge during the day, anywhere from, our library services to parks and recreation services and beyond. But also that we are exploring other facilities and other locations to pursue more navigation services. I think we've all learned the need that is out there, obviously the demand for these type of services through the Faro Center, and that we not have just one location to be able to address all of those needs. So the entire city team has been looking at every opportunity that presents itself that we can provide more services in more locations.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, and I just want to, I'll just reiterate that I think at the time when the Faro Center was approved, I had the understanding that it was sort of going to operate that way, so I just want to keep putting forward that I think that need is still unmet, but I'm hearing we understand that and are looking at it.
Yes, our hope was to offer a drop-in full public access center from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. We've had to make shifts because of impacts to the neighborhood and beyond, and also the complexity of needs that we're seeing among our unhoused and making sure that we have the appropriate service provision as well as licensed clinicians to be able to care for those individuals. And again, we need to be able to utilize our entire partner network to be able to make that happen and be able to address the needs we're seeing.
Thank you so much.
Before we go to Mr. Jordan, I just want to be sure that we read this item into the record. Madam Clerk, can you read it in the record, please?
To confirm, this is item 6, sublease agreements with subtenants for 621 Chapala Street and funding agreement for fiscal year 2026 program operations.
Thank you. Member Jordan.
Thank you. So I just wanted to offer a comment in support of the prior comment. Was I certainly remember, interpret, and believe that we talked about a daytime drop-in center. And I don't I don't disagree with how we got where we are today. I mean, the back and forth I've seen is just pretty dismaying to reducing our choices to what we're going to do. So we still have a need for a drop-in day center, and it's not up on Highway 154. Okay, you find a spot over on the Mesa. I'll take the hit. Okay, but there has to be a way to work out the dynamic of the people who won't come in a structured environment and the people who will come with a less structured environment. And if anything, we've learned some of the impacts of lessons from this particular situation, and we need to be better prepared for the next effort. But I think I've said this before, the easy pickings and the low-hanging fruit are more and more off the table as tiny homes and other facilities get made and people say, heck yeah, there's a place out. It's now the ones that are difficult and resolve not to trust anybody and are troublemakers and have mental issues, and we have to find a way to literally lure those people and attract those people in and figure out how to work with them with the baggage they're bringing. So just want to add to that comment you already heard. And as always, do what I can to help wherever that may be. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing any other council members. There are speakers. I'm going to go to public comment. So first up is Landon Rank, followed by Kit McMillan, followed by Tara Wright.
Afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Friedman, members of City Council, Landon Rank, Director of Programs with SB Act. I wanted to obviously voice my support for item 6. We continue to do great work at the Faro Center. Last month, 14 individuals worked with our staff on resumes and job applications. 10 participated in our job readiness program. And with the help of our partner agencies, 68 participated in housing opportunity exploration and navigation. One individual, 40-year-old veteran, was able to secure both housing and employment in the same month, so that was a big win. Another individual worked with staff to explore how they could return to their former work as a truck driver. We have another individual who's currently working with our staff. They are currently housed, but housing insecure. Their disability has increased to the point where they're not able to get up the stairs to their apartment, and they're concerned about losing housing. So these are the kind of things we're working on every day, providing invaluable assistance and referrals for a variety of homelessness-related services. And I want to name, in addition to the good work inside the center, we are pleased with the calm and quiet in the surrounding neighborhood. We've been able to engage in friendly dialogue with all of our neighbors in the surrounding blocks, each of whom have met our security guard, been able to get the hotline contact information, have utilized it. 2 weeks ago, there was an individual who was not a Faro Center client, trespassed on a neighbor property, and the security guard was able to respond within 2 minutes to that, just supporting the neighbors with things that may not even be connected. We also, over Labor Day weekend, received a request from a neighbor about some sidewalk litter that was on Ortega, so we were able to deploy a staff member on their break day. And just naming that in the last 4 months, city staff have only received one written concern from the neighbors, so we're grateful for the progress there. We have initiated daily trash pickup with some of our team members with lived experience of homelessness, and we're hoping to develop a program that will empower our clients to be able to offer more of these kind of neighborhood beautification efforts, specifically to sort of engage with the neighbors and figure out what would be helpful for you in your property and the surrounding area. So in short, the good work continues. We love what we do. We invite all of you to come by anytime, and thank you again for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Rank. Up next, Kit McMillan, followed by Tara Wright.
Good afternoon, Pro Tem Mayor. Pro Tem. I work for Sanctuary Centers of Santa Barbara, and I spend my time at the Faro Center during the 4 days a week. I just ask you to continue to work with Santa Barbara Act. They help at least 20, 25 clients a day. The neighborhoods are peaceful. And I've worked with some of the clients there, getting medical help for them. I work with the integrated care clinic at Sanctuary. So I've helped a guy with a broken toe. I've helped do enhanced care management with some of the clients, and just help talk to them and get them clear their head about what they want to do. So I think, and I've worked with the staff at the clinic, at the Faro Center, and they're very willing to work with all our clients. It's a very good center. It's a very good place to be. So thank you very much. Just encourage you to work with Santa Barbara Act.
Thank you. Up next, Tara Wright, followed by Joyce Berg.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Friedman and members of council. My name is Tara Wright. I'm here as someone whose life has been shaped by trauma, but also by resilience. I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I was exploited for labor on a farm and experienced homelessness for a total of 7 years. During that time, I struggled with PTSD and depression, working jobs like Instacart and Uber Eats just to survive. I often felt invisible, like the system wasn't built for people like me. Then I found SB Act, first as a volunteer and now as staff. I found something I had longed for my whole life, a safe, trauma-informed place where my experiences mattered, where I could be heard, understood, and respected. Faro embodies that same spirit. Clients and service providers often say it feels different from other programs. It doesn't just offer services, it offers a home. A place where people feel safe, valued, and seen. That's because many of us on the front lines have lived experience. We've been through the struggles our clients face. I lost my spot. Some of us are still facing those struggles. That lived experience brings a level of empathy and understanding that can't be taught, and it transforms how Faro operates. People trust us there. They feel understood. They begin to heal. I'm asking you to approve the month-to-month lease so that SB Act can continue operating FARO. This isn't just about keeping an organization in place. It's about protecting a community that gives people safety, dignity, and hope. Things I and so many others went without for far too long. FARO is a lifeline, and approving this lease means you're choosing to stand with survivors, with people experiencing homelessness, with those who need a safe place to call home. It means you're giving people a chance to heal, to belong, and to move forward. Please approve the lease and let SB Act continue the work that is saving lives and restoring hope. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Up next is Joyce Berg, followed by our last in chambers of Claire Mitchell.
Thank you. I'd just like to commend the city and SB Act for collaborating together on the work over many, many years in the navigation center at the park. I'm on the board. I was part of that. I've been on the board since SB Act was called Uffizi, and I've seen the progress of the work in the parks and then now in the day center. And it's a beautiful thing to see. It is hard, and there's been some bumpy roads, but we know each other, and I think we can work together. And I am in support of the city continuing to choose SB Act to run the center. Thank you.
Thank you. Claire Mitchell.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm here to echo the support for item number 6. I'm a board member of SB Act, and I live a couple blocks away from the FARO Center. So I would encourage you not only to approve this budget item, but also to consider SB Act for the upcoming RFP. I understand that there's an RFP in the works. You've heard from people who have sought services there. There's a lot of trust. They know what they're doing. They're supported by homelessness stakeholders in the community. They have experience coordinating these services. And I think that they've pivoted very effectively and have shown that they can do this in a way that the city would like it done. And so I think that they should be still in the running for that RFP. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members online who wish to speak to this item?
There are not.
Okay, we'll close that, and I just want to thank for all those who spoke today, and I want to in particular thank Mr. Rank for your leadership in bringing us all together on this particular item. I think there's been definite improvements in the neighborhood, but also the ability to enhance targeted services to those who most need it. So I really appreciate your efforts into bringing us to a positive resolution today. So with that, we do need items 3 and 6, but before we make the motion, Ms. McAdoo, if you could give the clarifying language for item 3.
Sure. There's just the attachment 3 is correct, but there is exhibit 1 in resolution 1 is incorrect. And so you just need to refer to attachment 3 instead as the exhibit.
And was there, you mentioned a budgetary change earlier too?
That was just part of the staff report. It wasn't part of any of the resolutions, I don't think, but I'm happy to just acknowledge for the reclassification in the city administrator's office, the fiscal impact is $16,351 and not the $27,741 that was mentioned in the report.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve item 3 and 6?
Excuse me, Mayor, could you take them separately?
Sure.
Thanks.
Can I have a motion to approve item 3 with the clarifying language from the city administrator?
So
I'll
moved.
move it.
Second.
I'll move Harmon, second Jordan. Motion passes unanimously. All members present, absent Mayor Rouse. Is there a motion for item 6?
Motion for.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The reason I asked for you to take it separately is because I have a small edit that I would like to make. And that was with regard to recommendation A, which is the SB Act sublease. There's a typo and I recognize you don't have it in front of you, so I apologize for that. But there's a small typo in section 15B It references Section 7A, and it actually should be Section 6A. So if I could just ask the maker of the motion to include that small change. Thank you.
Is there a motion for item 6 with reflecting the change by the city attorney?
So moved with the changes made by city attorney.
Made by member Santa Maria, seconded by member Sneddon. Passes unanimously by all members present, Mayor Rouse absent. And now on to City Council Administrative and Attorney reports. Anyone? Not seeing any lights come on. Council and staff communications. Councilmember committee assignment reports and engagements. Going, gone. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.